Alright, so recently I put out a rant where I body bagged Marvel, modern Marvel. Honestly, it's just my opinion on how they approach the modern cosmology and all that, dating back to like 2016. So it was it's not obviously fact, like all facts set in stone. It's an opinion of mine, right? And you can agree or disagree. But however, I'm just as opinionated on the DC side of things. So today I'm going to explain to you guys why I also have beef with the DC cosmology. If you didn't see my Marvel one, go check it out. If you haven't subscribed already, smash the subscription button as well as tell all your homies to subscribe. Let's run the subscription number up. Let's hit 20K in no time because y'all are the best. But anyways, getting into this. The problem with DC, it's funny, we actually kind of approach it from a different angle because, unlike Marvel, they're notorious for mapping things out, right? Marvel arguably gives more information, is more consistent with the layering within the verse with how they talk about it and stuff. Whereas DC will throw the map at you with a brief description, right? They'll tell you some shit here and there, but my problem is with the shit they say. So it's pretty interesting because it's going to be almost a different approach than the Marvel one entirely. So strap on in, get ready for this rant. I hope you guys enjoy. And if you are a fan of the Goon Explained series, where I just talk about random shit throughout fiction, make sure to smash the like button. Let's get into it. So, like I said before, DC's known for mapping their shit, right? They have their map of the multiverse. That's supposed to be this grand design of the cosmos. First of all, let me tell you a problem with that damn map. They gotta update it every fucking 20 seconds because DC's always retconning shit. Like, I swear to God, in the last few years, we went through a streak of DC just changing their cosmology. We would go from New 52 to Rebirth to Dark Metal to Infinite Crisis, whole bunch of shit. They turned their cosmology, even though they have a map, they turned it into a fucking jungle gym. So just getting an accurate idea of what the cosmology actually looks like and should scale and all that is actually really hard to do, even with the visual guidance, because the visual guidance gets boloed by updated information, right? Like, it's just out of date. The map's useless if the terrain's different, right? So right out off the bat, you kind of get lured into this false sense of security with the map being drawn, because the map's just not that helpful. One of the big things with DC is the way they treat their layers in the cosmology is weird as fuck. Like, sometimes a layer might be broken, sometimes a layer might be trash. Let me give you a perfect example. I've had people pull up on me before about my DC shit and try to debunk me. I was watching the shit. They're like, yo, the bleed scales above all narratives. It scales above all DC stories, timelines, all this crazy shit. Let me tell you something about the bleed, right? Let me tell you why it's bad that DC's cosmology is so shitty. Midnighter, point blank, survived the bleed. Like, he was exposed completely to the bleed and tanked it. Did not die. Are you telling me Midnighter tanked all DC narratives, timelines, all that fancy shit? All that fancy scaling cheese? Like, he that's his cheese now? Are you serious? Like that, I mean, look, I'm a Midnighter fan. So if y'all want to call Midnighter's base durability outer to high outer, I'm fucking here for it. That fits the agenda I'm pushing. But I'd be kind of lying if I didn't tell you that's suspect as shit. Another thing about the bleed. Atrocitus was able to literally tear through it. That's right. Atrocitus literally ripped through it and got to the bleed. Absolutely no problem. We know this from Stormwatch. So my question to you guys. Does Atrocitus and Midnighter now scale to high outer? Is that the wave? Is that the move? That's how crazy the arguments get for DC's cosmology, because they're absolute dog shit at piecing it together properly, and they just throw a bunch of random shit on top as well. Like, the bleed scaling that high and arguing it scales that high is absolutely nuts, because in Limbo, which should be higher than the bleed, and has been higher than the bleed for a very long time, the bleed's hasn't been around that long as a concept. We know narratives survive in Limbo, so why the fuck would bleed be beyond in Limbo? Like, they say Limbo is where stories are forgotten, but we literally see they have a fucking library of narratives in there. So why can narratives survive one section but not the one below it? That makes no sense. Like, the scaling for that is crazy. Like, I think people are crackheads when they try to convince me the bleed is high outer. Like, why? Because Cosmic Armor Superman needed it to cure cancer? How about DC just sucks? They get boloed by cancer. Like, if you send Apocalypse war entities after the DC universe, according to the Cosmology, you need, like, bleed level stuff to stop cancer, which people try to argue it's high outer, right? Apocalypse stomps, son, because he can literally hand out cancer for fucking breakfast. So everybody gets cancer in DC and gets boloed. That's really unfortunate, because the Cosmology, not too many people carry around bleed with them. That apparently is the only thing that can cure cancer there. So I've already rambled about the bleed. I think that scaling people try to throw it is absolute dog shit. And if you even have outliers for it, I kind of just explained to you why it's dumb as shit to argue it so high. Next, we got to talk about the platonic garbage that is the God Sphere. The God Sphere is an absolute mess. Every time they seem to want to give credence or value to the level the God Sphere it is, it's like they dunk on it with something else. For example, platonic God Sphere or whatever. First of all, power scalers need to stop fucking arguing Platonism as inherently outer, because he only said one thing that's, like, even remotely considered outer in all of his works, right? And the rest of this shit is just super mental. Humans are fucking dumb, so being super mental is not crazy. You're just beyond what the mind can conceive. We technically can't conceive 4 or 5 deep. That's stupid. So Platonism isn't even a great place to start, right? We've seen examples of the God Sphere just getting boloed, or aspects from it just getting boloed by regular people. For example, we know Darkseid got pulled up on in the God Sphere by Doomsday, and that was the real Darkseid, and got beat up. There's no way Doomsday should be venturing to archetypal realms and just beating people the fuck up. Like, the treatment of the God Sphere is so fucking spotty. They'll make it high outer in some comics, where, like, beings from the God Sphere can fuck with Source and Source level scaling. And then there's other comics where, like, Doomsday's pulling up and just beating the shit out of it. And it's like, dude, what are we doing? We have, like, mind-controlled Superman can bolo a lot of it too. Like, it gets really fucking murky when it comes to the God Sphere. The God Sphere is one of the most inconsistent power scaling layers in DC Comics. Like, it's really bad how much it varies the value they put on the God Sphere. And the fact that they have it as a layer so low, but then have several aspects of it that scale higher, it's like, why the fuck did you even put it there on the map? Have it higher then, bitch. Like, I can't personally stand how wishy-washy / varied the scaling we get for the God Sphere is. Like, stick with the narrative and just roll with it in terms of how you're going to scale the verse. Now that I got my God Sphere rambling out the way, because that tier is just ridiculous in terms of how they try to go about it, let's finally wrap it up with talking about just how overall inconsistent and sloppy the cosmology and the structuring of the verse has become. Like, I genuinely feel like even trying to cover DC Comics cosmology at this point and, like, finding consistency is a fucking mission impossible. Like, they add so much random shit, either get hypocritical with the scaling, or even simply at this point they were like, yo, everything's fucking canon, fuck it. Like, they just said that. Like, they literally made everything canon. And they just constantly jumble it up, make it a mess. They'll have one author explain it one way, and then an author explain it the other. And I just feel like this is genuinely more prominent in DC as a problem with how mangled the Cosmos are. Specifically because they use the map and then we go, yo, wait, this map doesn't actually make sense with how this all scales. And then you get dumbass arguments spawning from it from DC fans where they're like, oh, the source wall doesn't scale above. It scales to a certain layer, but like it scales above people that are above it. Like what? Like shut your dumb mouth. Like with Perpetua, like yeah, Superman's resisted the source wall. He's above Perpetua now. That's fucking tough. It's just a mess. They throw too much in. They're too willing to jack up the cosmos and kind of loosely run with it, which is an absolute mess when you have a map you're supposedly trying to stick by. So overall, I have just as many gripes with DC's new approach to cosmology as I do Marvel, if not honestly more, because DC is so reckless with the structure, despite trying to appear as if they're approaching it with a good structure. I just overall, I don't like it, don't trust it, think it's dog shit for a lot of different reasons compared to Marvel. Definitely go check out my Marvel video as well, and you can compare the two. And I will be trying my best to explain the modern cosmologies on my second channel as well. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Celestial Goons video should be dropping soon, as well as go check out the debate that'll be dropping soon on my second channel, as debates are coming back to the second channel. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been your boy Jobbers and Goons. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.